Hello everybody, I'm Bennett Campbell Ferguson, the editor of the Healthy Orange Movie Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite films of the past decade, Bryan Singer's Superman Returns. It's a film that I have a unique perspective on, in that I feel very differently about it than I did when I first saw it, back in summer of 2006. I remember going to the Lloyd Center Theater June 28th. It was a Wednesday. I have a really good memory for these things, by the way. Movie buff, what can I say? And I remember seeing Superman Returns on the day it opened and being so excited, because I was a huge fan of superhero movies by then, a huge fan of director Bryan Singer, and I loved it. I thought it was a great movie that first time, and many times after. But my feelings have changed since then. I actually love it more now, because as I've grown older, I've started to realize that there's a lot of meaning and depth and beauty in it that I didn't quite perceive as a young high schooler when I first saw it. And today I want to talk about that those depths that I discovered along the way. Now, Superman Returns is unlike most superhero films, which start with the beginning of how the superhero gets their powers and decides to go out and save the world. Superman Returns starts when Superman is already established as a hero. The world worships him, he's beloved, he's saved the planet countless times. But he's been gone for 5 years when the film starts. He's gone off to find the planet where he's from, because, in case you don't know, Superman, though he looks human, is in fact an alien. And so we begin with a beautiful prologue that we see his home planet being destroyed, as it has been for many years. Superman learns this towards the beginning of the film, and then we see him return to Earth in a just fantastically beautiful sequence where his ship lands in the middle of this dark field, and there's fire everywhere, and the choir on the soundtrack by John Ottman is calling out, "Oh!" and it's a really magnificent moment. And initially, it seems that Superman's departure to outer space and his return is going to not be a big deal. We get a wonderfully exciting action scene in which he saves a plane from plummeting down to Earth, and all the passengers survive, and it's this grand, heroic little air disaster battle sequence. But it immediately becomes clear that not all is well. First of all, when Superman comes back to Earth, we see a scene where he's watching television, and there's all these horrific news stories. We see violence, and it looks like some flashes of terrorism, and we see Superman, played by Brandon Routh, looking worried, concerned by all the horror that's gone on in the world in his absence. And so there's a sense right away that he may be blameworthy, because he left behind a planet that needed his help, needed his assistance to survive. But Superman Returns is not so much interested in questions of morality as it is in the idea of nostalgia. When he was directing the movie, Bryan Singer, and he's talked about this quite a lot, he decided to make it, as he calls it, a love letter to the other Superman movies starring Christopher Reeve. And if you've seen those movies, in my opinion, they haven't aged very well. They seem they seem kind of dated, kind of simplistic, and they're just they're not as much fun to watch as maybe they were when they first opened. But one of their positive qualities is their sincerity and their sweetness, and their portrayal of Superman is a very pure, honest, kind-hearted, gentle hero. And the gentleness is key, because right now we are living in an era of very violent superheroes. I mean, Batman and Wolverine, for instance, they're incredibly violent characters. You know, Batman doesn't kill people, but he definitely beats them up quite ferociously. And Wolverine is a superhero who kills quite a lot of people in his films. And incidentally, Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman, was a cast member of some of Bryan Singer's other movies, the X-Men films, X-Men and X2, which I will be doing a video on later, so stay tuned. But it's interesting that Superman in Superman Returns is very much the antithesis of those sorts of heroes. And in fact, I remember reading in the magazine Wizard that fans had mixed feelings about the fact that in Superman Returns, Superman never throws a punch, which is pretty extraordinary considering that superheroes are characters who fight. And yet personally, I think that's what makes the Superman in Mr. Singer's film special. His gentleness, his docileness, the fact that he isn't particularly aggressive. In fact, there's one scene where he beats a bad guy by letting the guy fire bullets at him, all of which bounce off Superman's chest because he's bulletproof. Fire these bullets until he runs out, and then when he runs out, Superman just smiles like, "I've won." He doesn't need to punch him or torture him. He's just that's all he needs to do. He just needs to wait till the guy runs out of bullets. And maybe that's a luxury of being an invulnerable hero, because there's very little that can harm Superman. But I think the film is making a statement about the positivity and the beauty of that kind of heroism. And there is a great deal of beauty. One of the really interesting things about the movie is that it unabashedly presents a hero who is beloved by the public. I can't tell you the number of scenes in Superman Returns that just feature people cheering for Superman after he saves that falling airplane at the beginning. You know, we get scenes where people are clapping in the streets and applauding and shaking hands and just you know, you see a little boy calling out "Superman!" and it's just the joy is so utterly infectious and wonderful and sweet. And in contrast to the X-Men films, in which Mr. Singer presented a vision of superheroes where the world is very divided by their very existence, in Superman Returns we see a world where the worship for this one hero has united everyone, brought everyone together. And then there's a very interesting religious overtone to this, because at the climax of the movie you see Superman falling back to Earth with his arms outstretched, and it's a very clear allusion to Jesus on the cross, because he's spread out in the shape of a cross. And so Superman is very much, as some people, including Mr. Singer and Richard Corliss, film critic, they've noted that Superman is a Christ-like figure, and I absolutely agree. So the film, in a way, is a testament to the power of faith, and it's interesting that the allusion to Jesus is in there, because Mr. Singer is himself, in fact, Jewish. So I'm curious to know what his feelings are about the religious overtones that arose in this film, either intentionally or unintentionally. Because I do know from interviews that some of them were intentional.